Good evening and welcome to UBC News tonight on this 31st day of May 2023. Now, before we delve into tonight's news bulletin, let's first take a look at the top stories tonight. In our top stories, you can withdraw your foreign aid support. We will find other solutions, Museveni assures donors. Ginger pilgrims make final onslaught arrival at Namugongo. Gun violence, paralegal gunned down in cold blood. And appointed judicial officers sworn in and cautioned against corruption. Good evening once again. I'm Lauryn Masika Kazimoto, and on sign language, Elizabeth Nakakwani. We start off this news bulletin with President Yoweri Museveni says no threats and intimidation from foreign allies shall change his mind on the signed anti-homosexuality bill 2023 into law. Now speaking for the first time on the signed bill to the NRM MPs at a retreat in Chankwanzi, he said even if donors withdraw their foreign aid support to Uganda, he will find other solutions to its problems. The tough-speaking Museveni appealed to MPs to stand firm and defend the bill to preserve Uganda's culture and sovereignty. We have more.
The one who prayed was worried about the consequences of us passing the law on homosexuality, and she was praying that God comes in and helps us and so to deal with the consequences. But I want to encourage you that we shall stand firm. No amount of intimidation or actions even will sway us. And that's why you should be careful on your side and on our side that we are right. If you are fighting for right, there's no force which can defeat you. But the problem I sometimes get with some of your groups is that they don't take care to make sure that they are on the right side. That's why, therefore, last time I returned the bill, because you could see some illogicalities in it. Because, and it's good that in that parliament you really become serious and discuss seriously, not just talking so that you are heard. There's a danger there, or trying to please groups here, because also God does not like that, especially if you say you are a person of God. God does not like dishonest people. Now, this issue of homosexuality is a very serious issue, because it is an issue of the human race. So it's not something that you should discuss to be seen, to be what? No. You only talk because you are sure of what you are saying. Otherwise, keep quiet.
President Museveni has held a crucial meeting with Malika Ngamyofa, the deputy chairman of Sudan's Transitional Sovereignty Council, to address the deteriorating situation in Sudan. During the discussion, Aga provided a comprehensive overview of the current security challenges, emphasizing the urgent need for continued efforts to bring stability to the region. President Museveni, as the chairman of the Peace and Security Council, stressed the significance of ending the ongoing fighting and fostering reconciliation through fair and democratic elections. He firmly asserted that the future of Sudan should be determined by its people, emphasizing that the country does not belong to any individual or group. President Museveni called upon activists in Sudan to play a crucial role in promoting reconciliation and putting an end to the persistent violence. He recognized that convincing the army generals of the possibility of reconciliation would greatly continue to contribute to a successful ceasefire. Moreover, the president highlighted the importance of allowing Sudanese citizens to exercise their democratic right by choosing their own leader through free and fair elections. He emphasized that Sudan belongs to the people of Sudan and their voices should shape the future of the nation. President Museveni further suggested that the integration of the army should be considered once the country has achieved stability. By stabilizing Sudan first, it would create a conducive environment for the integration process. Now, in the busy town of Namugongo, preparations for the annual celebrations of Martyrs' Day are in full swing as thousands of pilgrims continue to flock to the Anglican and Catholic shrines to pay homage to the martyrs. The authorities have taken proactive measures to ensure the safety and security of all attendees. Ivan Kahwa took a closer look at the tactful deployment of security personnel and the intensified security measures put in place. Take a look.
In Namugongo, the annual Martyrs' Day celebration is approaching and security measures are being implemented to safeguard the Anglican and Catholic shrines. The deployment of security personnel has been carefully planned and executed. Commanders have actively participated in strategizing the deployment formula to ensure effective coverage for all areas. The discussions and plans ensure that security forces are positioned in key locations to monitor and respond to any potential security threat.
We have the security alert, and they are already on doing their own job. There is the access control, but we are telling the public that as you are approaching the access points, you should be careful. If you have jackets, remove them, and let's push them to go through the baggage scanners. Whoever is carrying big luggages, they should be open and to ease the work of the security.
As pilgrims continue to arrive, layers of security have been intensified to maintain a tight grip on the situation. This includes confiscating of restricted items to mitigate potential risks. Thorough checks of belongings and personal items are conducted by security personnel to ensure the safety and security of all attendees.
Let's encourage our people to leave our children behind, because that's at times, since the numbers of the people around us is big, they may cause stampede.
In addition to these measures, sniffer dogs are employed to enhance the security screening process. These highly trained canines play a vital role in detecting any suspicious or dangerous substances that may be concealed in vehicles or among pilgrims' belongings.
You will see all security agencies gathered together. We have teamed up for the purposes of ensuring the safety of all Ugandans around. We want all the pilgrims to enjoy the day and move back to their places safely.
Pilgrims attending the celebration are advised to remain vigilant throughout the Martyrs' Day festivities. They are encouraged to report any suspicious activities or items to the nearest security personnel. This guidance ensures that all participants are actively involved in maintaining a secure and peaceful environment. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News in Namugongo.
Thank you, Ivan Kawa. Now, pilgrims from Jinja Catholic Diocese, led by their Bishop, Right Reverend Charles Martin Wamika, have this Wednesday, 31st May, made a final triumphant entry at Namugongo Catholic Shrine. The team, which left Mukono this morning, accessed the shrine through the Seta Sonde Road in a journey which paralyzed both business and traffic for close to 5 hours. Robert Onyango reports.
The pilgrims of Jinja Diocese that have spent 3 days trekking the route to Namugongo shrines have finally made a triumphant entry to the historic center, where the 22 martyrs were murdered from between 1885 and 1886, ahead of the commemoration day on June 30 this week. This morning, the pilgrims from different parishes and churches gathered at Mount Elijah premise along Seta Sonde Road to make their final onslaught to the shrines. Led by Jinja Diocese Bishop Right Reverend Charles Martin Wamika and the Busoga Premier Joseph Muvawala, they then embarked on the journey. In company was the brass band which sounded the Catholic hymns, and police with other sister security agencies offered protection. The procession along the roads left onlookers in the areas where the pilgrims strayed through, waving and cheering them. The 5-hour trek ended at 11:30 when they made a historic entrance at Namugongo.
Privileged to be among those who are getting to Namugongo right now.
They were received by Father Vincent Lubega, director of this place. And here they started with this.
May we give space now?
Later, they were ushered into the Basilica, a moment which attracted jubilations.
That jubilation is coming from the Catholics from Jinja Catholic Diocese. After the 3 days journey from Jinja Diocese, they have finally made it here to Namugongo Catholic Martyrs Shrine, and they have been given a historical entrance here into the Basilica. That is now the ceremony of handing over this the cross which has been made with the portraits of all the 22 Catholic martyrs.
Here, the rector of Namugongo, Father Vincent Lubega, officially welcomed the diocese to this blessed land.
I can assure you, and all the pilgrims who are here and those who are on the way, that Jinja Diocese, together with the Catholic Church in Uganda, have done their best to receive you and feel confident that more than ever, this year, 2023 3rd June celebration are going to be full of blessings.
For Right Reverend Charles Martin Wamika, he presided over an inaugural prayer to those already at the shrines and those still making their way.
May it please you, we pray, also to watch over these servants of yours. Be to them, Lord, a help in their preparations, comfort on the way, shade in the heat, shelter in the rain and cold, a courage in tiredness, a shield in adversity, a staff in insecurity, so that under your guidance they may happily arrive at Namugongo and finally return safe to their homes after the celebration.
The team later marched to the shrines to take up their seats.
Today, they walked from Mukono to Namugongo, and by 11:30, they were here. That one, it means people, the faith has really increased amongst the people because the people were very many.
The day was summed up with the liturgical mass held at 5 p.m. Jinja Diocese are the ones leading this year's Martyrs' Day celebrations and liturgical mass. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
With just 2 days remaining to the Martyrs' Day celebrations on the 3rd of June 2023, preparations are in full swing. One significant aspect of these preparations is the provision of healthcare services to the pilgrims. The health facilities have been set up at both the Anglican and Catholic shrines. The Public Relations Officer of Mengo Hospital, Dennis Bwanika, says they're providing primary healthcare services like malaria treatment, first aid, among others. We have more details.
With 2 days left to 3rd June Martyrs' Day 2023, thousands of pilgrims are already arriving in Namugongo ahead of the celebrations. However, upon arrival, some of them often experience fatigue and physical discomfort due to the long journey and crowded conditions. The presence of these health facilities aims to alleviate such issues and provide necessary healthcare support.
Okay, wellness checkups, HIV testing, dental checkups, eye screening, and blood donation drive and public health education tips.
When they reach here, we give them a first aid, then we sort those ones who are having critical conditions, we refer them.
By press time, at least 2,000 people had received the free medical care services.
People are coming in slowly, one by one, but we hope to anticipate, we are anticipating that the numbers are going to be more, and we are ready for the numbers.
We have worked on 400, right now, 402 patients, but other tents, I think we have worked more than 2,000. We feel better, or somehow, but I don't have money to buy another drug, so we give the next dose. Yes.
Marion Awori and Miriam Iwomjisha for UBC.
All right, now Christianity remains the dominant religion in Uganda, with Catholics, Anglicans, Orthodox and Adventists being some of those officially recognized. They all believed and still believe in the birth, death and resurrection of Jesus Christ and his teachings. But how did this come about? Today we retrace the coming of missionaries and how Ugandans were recruited into Catholicism. Henry Okrut with more.
The coming of missionaries, we remember people like the Mapera.
April 22nd, 1878. The first caravan of a Roman Catholic society, known as the White Fathers, leaves Marseilles for Africa. The missionaries land in Zanzibar on June 17th of the same year, before heading on foot into the interior African. Quite challenging is the journey through the unknown territory. When the caravan reaches Lake Victoria, only two of the group decide to push on across the lake. The two men are Father Laudel and Brother Amans. They cross the lake and arrive near Entebbe on the Kigungu Peninsula on February 17th, 1879. The day is known and recognized as one for the arrival of Catholicism in Uganda.
The way the normal Ugandan would call Mapera, because it was difficult to pronounce the name, so they called him the Great Father Mapera. They came, and that is how the Catholic faith started.
The two missionaries continued north, passing through Kisubi and Rubaga. By this time, their arrival had been brought to the attention of Mutesa I. He was the king, popularly known as the Kabaka of the Kingdom of Buganda, a sub-national monarch which still exists in Uganda today. Mutesa I ordered for them to be taken to Kitebi, where they spent 15 days.
Previously, we had the three traditional faiths. We had the Muslims, and that is why here, with the Martyrs, we have representatives of Catholics, of Anglicans, and Muslims. But with time, things started changing. The mushrooming of the Pentecostal church also came in, which came with it a lot of vigor.
Not long after the missionaries visited Mutesa I at his capital of Banda in Kampala, he gave them Rubia Hill. On it, they were to build churches, schools, hospitals, and other amenities.
And they were helping people. So people said, these people, they come, they build schools. They come, they build hospitals. They are treating us from our diseases. They are taking our children to school. Maybe these people are good people. Can we learn from them?
Such became the mode in which people were recruited into Christianity. And it worked successfully.
Because when you go for treatment, you're getting a reverend sister giving you treatment. You go to school, you are getting a reverend father. So that is how the faith grew up to now.
Today, Christianity is the dominant religion in Uganda, with majority of the population of around 80% subscribing to the same. Of these, almost 40% identify themselves as Roman Catholics. The teachings of then continue to date, including the 7 sacraments, beginning with baptism.
And even Jesus himself showed us the example by being baptized at River Jordan. And at that point when Jesus was baptized, God himself came down and said, "This is my son." So at baptism, you are declared a king, a prophet, and a priest.
Outstanding of these teachings is the last sacrament, often conducted at the point of death. It is one that is said to be often misunderstood by Christian believers. Lucy Akello, the Catholic chaplain of the Ugandan Parliament, takes time to explain.
People should not be afraid to get this last sacrament. It doesn't hurt for you to get it even 1,000 times. For example, if you're going to board a plane and maybe you're not sure whether you'll make it, you can go to a priest and get this blessing. If you come back alive, you thank God. You can still go back and do it over and over again. It is just to prepare you to have a better death and to prepare you to reach heaven.
But over the years, what has changed? Here are some of them.
On what we call missionary Sundays, every Catholic is mandated to make a contribution on that Sunday. And that contribution is collected and not kept in Uganda. That contribution is collected and sent to Vatican. And every parish, every diocese, every country has like a ledger in Vatican. And they will get to know that Uganda contributed so much. So how much contribution should we also send to Uganda? So it is no longer about donation, but how much do you also give? So you give, the more you give, the more you also receive.
Such devotion is what has kept the faith going. To the extent that even some brave Ugandans gave in their lives for the sake of their belief. They came to be known as the Uganda Martyrs. Their lives and devotion are celebrated every 3rd of June with holy journeys and national prayers.
Praise God, hallelujah. Praise God, amen. Praise God, hallelujah. Praise God.
Monuments have been put up in their honor, including Namugongo Martyrs Shrine, where main celebrations often take place.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, amen.
Henry Okrut, UBC.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
Thank you very much, Henry Okrut and Lucy Akello, for that insight and history lesson about Christianity in Uganda. UBC News Tonight continues. At the height of religious wars in Buganda, there was suspicion all over Buganda neighbors. Now, Buganda had it that their neighbor will come from the backyard, which is, in this case, was Busoga Kingdom. This part was what caused the death of Bishop James Hannington at Kyando in the current Mayuge district. Now, Yona Francisco Xavier reports that every 29th of October, pilgrims converge to Kyando Hill to celebrate Bishop Hannington, who was murdered with 46 others.
Kyando village is a remote place in Mayuge district, but it has become a famous tourist site, drawing its popularity from the murder of Bishop James Hannington. The site is owned by the Church of Uganda. Off the road to Bukareba on the right-hand side is the Kyando Health Center too. There is an arch and the road slopes downwards to the site of Murder Stone, where Bishop Hannington was murdered by Chief Luba, before ascending to the hill where Bishop Hannington resided. From a distance, Kyando Hill is visible from all angles. It is a site Busoga Tourism Initiative has developed to attract tourists.
Bishop Hannington was murdered on the 29th of October in 1885, actually a year before the Martyrs of Namugongo. So he's the first African martyr. He was murdered together with 48 of his helpers. Tourism in Uganda is being diversified, also moving into cultural tourism, religious tourism, faith tourism, and this is one of the flagship of faith tourism in Uganda.
At this site, Bishop Hannington was killed on the directives of Busoga Chief Luba on 29th of October 1895. This was at the peak of the religious controversies in Buganda. The murder was a result of entering Buganda through the backyard, of which Busoga was taken as a backyard to Buganda, from which trouble was expected.
I'm Geoffrey Mukajanga, the grandson of Chief Luba. Actually, I was told by my parents that during that time, it was 1885, during the Kabaka Mwanga, by then was the Kabaka of Buganda. And during that time, my grandfather was the chief of this area, the chief of Bunya. So during that time, Kabaka Mwanga had a suspicion that a person who could take over his kingship will come from Eastern. By then that Bishop James Hannington took the same direction. He didn't know that he had entered the palace of Chief Luba.
There are tourism attractions under Busoga tourism initiatives which can make Busoga region an area to reckon with.
At Kyando, you'll find historical landmarks. For example, you'll be able to walk the trail of Hannington. You'll be able to go and visit the bedroom of Hannington. Actually, this is a cave where Hannington used to live 128 years. You'll be able to see the pulpit that he used as his preaching pulpit, which are just stones. You'll be able to see his library. You'll also be able to see Chief Luba's well, which is a landmark and is a blessed well, because this is where Bishop Hannington used to draw his water.
Edinti buli kwa 22 ogw'ekumi baida baalamagawo. Bishop ole yafiirawo Hannington nga baida okumwidukira. Etawe ebyamaguzi twafuna ssente. Etawe engoye batundawo migaati kyoyendayo kasita oba ofune capital.
On arrival in Busoga region at Kyando, in the present Mayuge district, Bishop Hannington had discovered a conducive environment at this hill. At the site, we meet Paul Kagwa, the guide.
As he reached Bukoli, that is Namugongo, after having found that they had raided them, so he decided to move as far as this end, whereby he was looking for a way, reaching him to Buganda at the King's Palace. So he reached a place called Chugwisa down there at Bukaleva. He had no way through because it was surrounded with the water. So he looked behind and saw this hill of Kyando. He came back here.
Kyando Hill was in Luba's chiefdom in Buna, the present-day Mayuge district. Luba chiefdom was one of the 11 principalities of Busoga kingdom. There was a huge rock on which Bishop Hannington found a place to rest. Within, he had established a bedroom. A bit further was his sitting room.
Take water from, plus so many people. He used to sit under that tree there to judge the cases that had come in his court.
One day, there was a well. It was called Chief Luba's pot, where he was drinking water from. He went to drink water. A herdsman saw him drinking water. He saw him as an abnormal thing. He took the information back to Chief Luba, telling him that he saw an abnormal animal drinking water from Chief Luba's pot. Now, Chief Luba ordered his men to come and see which animal was living in his palace.
Bishop Hannington was later captured and taken to Chief Luba's court. During the trial, Bishop Hannington was forced to climb the torture stone. The torture stone was steep and slippery, which Bishop Hannington tried to climb 3 times, but failed.
This torture stone here is in Luba's swamp, in Luba's area, whereby Bishop Hannington was brought to this stone when it was said that he has a king who was higher than the king of this area. So they brought him here that if he climbs this stone here, he will be set free. More so they wanted him to climb up here, but he failed to climb. That's why we call it a torture stone. This stone is ever surrounded with water, and I don't think whether you can climb it after having stepped in the water. He failed because it was slippery, had stepped in the water. He could not climb this stone. So from here, he was taken to the murder stone and he was killed.
But a relative to Chief Luba says it was unfortunate that a disparity in language caused the death of Bishop James Hannington.
He said in Uganda that Mugende Mumute, which is a contradicting statement. Either he meant to release him or to kill him. So now when the messengers came back, they brought the information to Chief Luba, told him the Kabaka had said to Mute. So Chief Luba ordered his death.
Aviona Francisco, UBC News.
Another insightful history lesson right there. UBC News Tonight takes a very short break, but we'll return with more stories after these messages.
Jerry con. Jerry con. Hey, Master Blaster. Touch him, man. Bang Jerry con with muscle. Those ones who say go for you only. Mundava. Best group is I teach you. But I'm going to which the squad because of the camera is very far. Is you serious? It's just you. What? Yeah? You step it on it. Add kilometers to your legs and you get your sugar. We buy meat from Umaru and Umaru refused to give you enough meat. Mama! Show him that they don't joke with you. Umaru,
okukakaluka n'okulungi kwetaagako omuntu akuyambako n'olwekyo tujja kukuteerawo embeera esaanidde osobole okukola ekisinga awamu teri kitulema.
Ministry of Health will conduct yellow fever preventive mass vaccination campaign for all persons aged 9 months up to 60 years. These people should have never been vaccinated against yellow fever. The yellow fever campaign will be conducted in phases, with the first phase covering districts in the regions of Arua, Gulu, Lira, Kabare, Kabariting, and general body weakness or fatigue to the nearest health facility or health worker immediately for medical attention. This could be yellow fever. Yellow fever vaccine is a single dose given once in a lifetime. The yellow fever vaccine is safe, effective, and free. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health with support from Gavi and partners.
This is a quick call. I'm almost out of minutes.
Why rush through such important conversations? Airtel Uganda has made it possible for you to call across all networks in Uganda at the best rates with the new Bona voice bundles. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with minutes valid for calls on all networks. Dial *100*1#. Select voice bundles and select Bona voice bundles today.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Bara and Jinja.
Did you know that you can safely and conveniently make your school fees payments anytime, any school, anywhere using Airtel Money? Oh yes! Simply pick up your phone and dial *185#. Select option 6, school fees. Choose between school pay, peg pay, or shore pay. Enter student number. Enter amount, confirm name and transaction. Enter Airtel Money PIN. A confirmation message will be sent to you upon a successful transaction. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Are you ready to make a positive impact on our environment? Mark your calendars, because World Environment Day 2023 is around the corner. The National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, calls upon all Ugandans to join millions of people across the globe to commemorate World Environment Day on 5th June 2023 under the theme Stop Plastic Pollution. There will be an exhibition on the theme at Kololo Ceremonial Ground. The celebration will be combined with the International Day for Biodiversity 2023. This is how you can get involved. Spread the word in your community. Participate in cleanups in your neighborhood. Plant a tree. Opt for alternatives to Kavela. Recycle, reuse, and repurpose plastic. Let your actions inspire others to follow the suit. NEMA, ensuring sustainable development. In partnership with Uganda Biodiversity Fund and the Petroleum Authority of Uganda, creating lasting value in Uganda's oil journey.
Welcome back from that break. Now in more news here in UBC News Tonight, Major General Leopold Chanda, the Joint Chief of Staff of the Uganda People's Defence Forces, visited the headquarters of the Special Forces Command in Entebbe, where he interacted with the soldiers and provided a much-needed morale boosting. Accompanied by a delegation of high-ranking generals and senior officers from UPDF headquarters in Mbuya, General Chanda emphasized the importance of strong leadership and the correct political line in the success of the UPDF. We have more.
During his address, General Chanda commended the soldiers for their dedication and reiterated the purpose of the Chief of Defence Forces mobilization drive, which was initiated due to a decline in the soldiers' adherence to the UPDF ideology.
A place where political education, after we took over power in 1986, had its home, and you know the background, the strength of the UPDF. You know that we have survived where others have failed, We have been successful where they have failed because of correct political line. That would not have been possible if we did not have a great leader like His Excellency the President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
Brigadier General David Mugisha, the SFC commander and a member of the CDF mobilization team, expressed gratitude for the visit and praised the CDF's efforts in implementing the mobilization drive.
This exercise, mobilization, seeks to remind us of our mandate as enshrined in the Article 209 of our Constitution, which is preserve, defend, protect, cooperate, foster harmony, and engaging in productive efforts to facilitate socio-economic transformation.
The initiative aims to increase ideological awareness among UPDF members and create frameworks that foster a liberated mindset within the force. During the gathering, the soldiers were presented with papers on the UPDF Code of Conduct, revolutionary methods of work, and major service offences. The Chief of Training and Recruitment, Brigadier General Matthew Gureme, applauded the troops for their commitment to maintaining peace and stability in the country. Colonel Chris Ogumelachi, the UPDF Director of Operations and Other Than War, provided historical insights highlighting the transition from non-patriotic and sectarian armies to the formation of the National Resistance Army. Colonel John Fred Yonata, CEO of Wazalendo Sacco, emphasized the UPDF's commitment to the welfare of its members.
Welfare is that stabilizing factor that you bring after you have done everything. You build a force, you train it, you equip it, then you give it the welfare as a glue for all those other things to ensure that the force has the willpower to fight.
The SFC soldiers expressed.
Now, the Deputy Chief Justice, Richard Butera, has said that the judiciary will create a judgment writing tool in a bid to end case backlog, among other challenges facing the judiciary. Butera communicated this during the swearing-in of the newly appointed judicial officers at the judiciary headquarters in Kampala.
Be faithful and bear true allegiance.
On 15th May 2023, the Judicial Service Commission appointed judicial officers, including Chief Magistrates, Chief Registrars, Registrars, and Deputy Registrars. Wednesday morning, 20 appointed Chief Magistrates took their oath in a function graced by the Deputy Chief Justice Richard Butera at the Judiciary Headquarters in Kampala.
That I will well and truly exercise the judicial functions entrusted to me.
Talking to the newly sworn magistrates, the Deputy Chief Justice Butera commended them upon this achievement. However, urged them to work towards achieving the objectives of the Judicial Enactment Act 2020.
Incorporate yourself quickly into the judicial family in which you now come to work. There will be bottlenecks in the way you work, but with the determination, it will not be difficult. Judicial officers have a duty to deliver judgments. Endeavor not to delay your judgments. Delayed judgments create anxiety among litigants. They are expectant and their expectations remain unanswered because justice delayed is justice denied.
He also highlighted on the judiciary's move to create a judgment tool to guide the judicial officers in their line of duty.
We provide research materials and methods, as well as judgment format and agreed style for uniformity of our judgments. This will help to improve on the rate of case disposal and quality of judgments that are written. The tool shall also help in the reduction of case backlog.
The Principal Judge, Dr. Flavian Zeija, advised the Chief Magistrates to stand by their oath and aim at serving the interests of Ugandans diligently and professionally.
Also remember that when all is said and done, integrity remains the bedrock.
Now in more news, the Uganda Human Rights Commission has met with the National Fellowship of Born Again Pentecostal Churches to discuss a report released by the Commission which singled out religious leaders, Pentecostal faith movement in the breach of human rights and meddling in acts of extortion and rape. In the dialogue meeting, the religious leaders from the Pentecostal Born Again faith also faulted the Human Rights Commission to have issued the report without consulting them first and sought for an apology from the Commission head.
Last week, Human Rights Commission Chairperson Maria Mwangadia released the 25th Human Rights Report edition, highlighting the human rights situation in the country. However, among the lead violators of human rights in the country, the report singled out religious leaders from the Pentecostal born-again faith. The report further criminalized these religious leaders of meddling in acts of extortion and rape, which are grave criminal offences which contravene Uganda's penal code. The revelations didn't go down well with the Pentecostal born-again religious leaders, being described as being inaccurate against their personality. However, in today's meeting held between the Human Rights Commission top officials and the Pentecostal born-again religious leaders led by Bishop Moses Odong, accused the Commission of failing to consult them before publishing the report. The secretary to the Commission, Ejang Margaret Lucy, briefed the religious leaders on the findings of their research and their results on human rights in various faiths.
We know, and then we get to a table, discuss in a consultative meeting before we can prepare the information for the annual report and actually finally present it in the annual report, and it goes out to the public. So these procedures were followed. Director will help us as
Ruth Sechindi, the lead investigator into the findings of the alleged damning report, said they unearthed many things committed by the pastors, including extortion, disrespecting of women and dignity, and acts of rape. The investigations reveal that many of the pastors rape women in their confined offices in church.
National Association of Professional Environmentalists and partners have asked government to invest in averting the environmental crisis that the country is facing. The Executive Director, National Association of Professional Environmentalists, Frank Muramuzi, says there is no need of celebrating the World Environmental Day next week, but invest the resources allocated for the event in looking for solutions to the current environmental crisis. Muramuzi made the revelation at a press conference in Bunamwaya, Mfufu, Wakiso district. We have more.
The National Association of Professional Environmentalists and partners are concerned about the current environmental crisis in the country. The Executive Director, NAPE, Frank Muramuzi, says government should invest the resources allocated for the celebration of the Environment Day at identifying solutions to the current climate change and depletion of wetlands and forests that have pursued a major threat to the weather patterns, leading to food insecurity.
So when you mine sand, when you cultivate rice in a vast land, then you allow it to weaken, then water, logging, then it goes up to Lake Victoria, and then the roads are destroyed. So it is them to blame, nobody else. And we have told them not once, not twice. And that's the reason to go to court and say, stop them. You may find that those who are growing sugarcane in Bogoma, who are destroying that forest, are coming from the state.
The legal and
This is the University of Africa. On the streets, you get your real education. Here, everybody has a degree of something. But the most important qualification is imagination. A reason to imagine is slay. His reason is to be the GOAT. Theirs is to take the beat and make it lit. They want to test edgy till it is fire. Their reason for imagination is to add riz in style. Her reason to imagine is finesse. And hers is to find what's new and bussin'. So no matter what your situation, just use your imagination.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Bara and Jinja.
This is the University of Africa. On the streets, you get your real education. Here, everybody has a degree of something. But the most important qualification is imagination. Her reason to imagine is slay. His reason is to be the GOAT. Theirs is to take the beat and make it lit. They want to test edgy till it is fire. Their reason for imagination is to add riz in style. Her reason to imagine is finesse. And hers is to find what's new and bussin'. So no matter what your situation, just use your imagination.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
Their support meant so much to me. And as a teenage girl, I stayed focused and was protected from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. I will support other girls against child marriage and teenage pregnancy.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sawuti 116.
Talk with freedom. Get MTN Freedom voice bundles that don't expire. Dial *100 *21# or my MTN app for more bundles. Together, we're unstoppable.
Welcome back from that break. Now into the business scene. Ministry of ICT and National Guidance have partnered with MTN to improve 20 ICT enterprises to respond to the demanding emergencies in the ICT field. These innovations have proved feasible and will be supported to offer employment opportunities to the youth while providing solutions to the dynamic digital economies.
The 20 selected enterprises in the fields of agriculture, health, education and financial services will be bolstered to match with the demands of the fourth industrial revolution.
That we've taken some time to build up the capacity of young innovators to enter technology-oriented careers, and that those then have two pathways that they go down. Either those who want to deploy their skills in the world of work, so to come in as developers, to come in as engineers, to come in as product leads, so on and so forth in the different organizations they're working with, or to deploy their skill sets to more entrepreneurial pursuits.
Most of the businesses which fail don't fail because they do not have the finances. They fail because they do not have someone to work with them, to guide them on decision making, on presentation, marketing, ensuring that you dodge the pitfalls which eventually lead to crumbling of enterprises.
The partnership intends to promote young innovators and promote creativity while widening the employment opportunities to the talented.
We are aiming to ensure that that the products that they've already developed or the concepts that they already have are going to market. We want them to ensure that at the end of the day they have a market for these products. At the end of the day, financial funding that will be created.
Now in more business news, the National Bureau of Standards have held an engagement meeting with key stakeholders in the import and export to discuss the guidelines on the standardization, quality assurance, metrology and testing of product equipment. The meeting was held at UNBS headquarters to celebrate the World Metrology Day.
Preliminary estimates of GDP indicate that the economy grew by 5.3% in fiscal year 2022-2023 compared to the revised growth of 4.6% in 2021-2022.
And the size of this in nominal terms is 184 billion 184,288 billion, or 184.3 trillion, from 162,883 billion, or 162.9 billion. Trillion, yes. So now we are as big as 184.3 trillion compared to 162.9 trillion for last financial year.
The annual energy, fuel and utilities inflation slowed down to 0.9% in the year ending May 2023 compared to 2.1% registered in the year ended April 2023.
All right, and with that, UBC News Tonight comes to the end. I would like to encourage you to, of course, watch the most watched show in the land here on UBC television at 10 o'clock. That is Behind the Headlines. New changes here and there that you do not want to miss. I'm Lauryn Masika Kazimoto, and of course on behalf of my colleague Elizabeth Nakakoni on sign language interpretation, the team working tirelessly behind the scenes, we want to wish you a blessed night and also a happy new month for tomorrow. Good night.
Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom announces the untimely death of Princess Constance Nyangoma Gafabusa Amoti that occurred on Monday, the 29th of May 2023. The deceased has been a sister to His Royal Highness Dr. Solomon Gafabusa Iguru I, the Omukama of Bunyoro Kitara. There will be a funeral service on Saturday, the 3rd of June 2023 at 4 p.m. at St. Peter's Cathedral, Duhaga, Hoima. Burial will take place at Mparo Tombs at 4 p.m. on Sunday, the 4th of June 2023. Informed are the President of the Republic of Uganda, the Batebe of Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom, all princes and princesses, the Royal Commissioners, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, and all Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom Cabinet Ministers, the Speaker of the Bunyoro Kitara Parliament, and all members of the Bunyoro Kitara Parliament, chiefs, clan leaders, members of Parliament, all district leaders, all religious leaders, and the entire Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom. We extend our heartfelt condolences to the family, relatives, and friends of the deceased. May the Lord grant her eternal peace.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
The 3rd of June every year is Uganda Martyrs Day celebrations, a celebration